Welcome to MakeJewelry.tv Episode 2. In this episode, I'll teach you how to make a Chrysocolla wire link bracelet with copper dangles. The materials needed to make this project are approximately 24 inches of copper wire in a 20 gauge, which is this larger diameter, 24 inches of copper wire in a 24 gauge, which is this size, 7 12 by 15 Chrysocolla rectangular beads, or any other bead that you would like to use in approximately that same size, 6 4mm hexagonal beads, copper in color, 6 round 4mm Chrysocolla beads, and 12 black seed beads, and 1 copper clasp. We're using a magnetic clasp, but if you're hard on jewelry, you might want to use a regular clasp. We'll be using the same tools we used in Episode 1. The round nose pliers, the flat nose pliers, nippers, and the micro crimpers. We're going to make the bracelet in segments. So the first thing we're going to do is take the 24 gauge wire, the narrower wire, and we're going to thread all the small beads onto it. First we're going to put the little copper beads, and then alternate black Chrysocolla black, black Chrysocolla black. We're going to separate them, and we're going to do exactly the same thing we did in the last video. We're going to go about an inch down and make a 90-degree bend. Then we're going to take the round nose, put them in that elbow, bring it up and over, rotate the pliers, squeeze just a little to make that flat. Then we're going to bring the tail around, make a couple of turns. 2 is plenty on this. Then we're going to take the nippers and clip that off as flush as we can, cover it, pick up your crimpers, tighten that up a little bit. Now this wire is very forgiving and it's very easy to work with. If you are having any problems, this is great practice. The wire will do what you want it to do almost always. If not, cut it off and do it again. It's not a problem. It's inexpensive wire. Good to practice on. Okay, now we're going to come down about 3/16 of an inch. Cut that off. And we have very little waste. We're going to use the round nose pliers again. Roll that end down. Pick up the crimpers, and we want to crimp that just to hold those beads on. It doesn't have to be totally flat. If you've got a little loop, that's fine. And that segment is finished. Now, we're going to continue and do exactly what you've just done with all the rest of the beads here, so that you have 6 of this little segment with the black Chrysocolla black. Now that we've made the Chrysocolla dangles and set those aside, we're going to make the copper hexagonal dangles. Same thing here. We're going to take our square pliers, bend about an inch down. Now we take the round nose pliers, slip them in the elbow, roll that over, rotate the pliers, snug it down a bit, pull that tail up, wrap it around a couple of times. Then we're going to pick up our nippers, nip that off, tuck it in with the crimpers, slide one of the little beads up, leave about 3/16 of an inch, and cut that off. Now, because this bead has a little larger hole, we need to be careful not to tighten down that tail too much, because if we do, the bead's going to fall off. So we start our round there, then we grab the crimpers, and we want to go as far down as we can at the bottom edge of that tail. Get it in the groove there and close it down. So we haven't closed it down all the way, so the bead isn't going to fall off. Okay, we do that segment, finish up the other 5, and set them aside. Okay, now that we have our dangles made, we're going to go ahead and start the main body of the bracelet. We're going to use the 20 gauge wire, the heavier wire, 24 inches, and we're going to slide the rectangular, the larger beads down onto it. We're going to do those one at a time. We're going to do the same thing. Go down about an inch, bend it 90 degrees. We're going to pick up the round nose pliers, put them in the elbow. This time, we're not going to close that. We're going to leave it open, bend it down so we're ready to close it. But then open it up just a touch with your fingers. That way we're going to put in the clasp. We have room to put that clasp in. Just thread it down. See it's in there securely, and we're going to take the pliers, hold on to it so it doesn't move around on you while you're doing this, and you're going to wind. Do your same two. And grab your nippers. Clip that off. Take the crimpers. Put that down in just a bit. Okay. Now we're going to move that bead on up to the end. I'm going to straighten the wire just a little bit. Okay. Now we're going to leave the inch that we need to wrap with, and then we're going to save just about an eighth of an inch to put the wraps in once they're done. So we're going to cut off at about an inch and an eighth, like that. And we're going to set the wire aside. Now we take the flat pliers. This time we're going to add the dangles. So we need our eighth of an inch, bend at the inch point, make that 90-degree bend, just like we have been doing. Insert the round pliers, pull that over, rotate them around, pull that down, push it over like you're going to wrap, but don't wrap yet. Now, we're going to take a couple of the little pieces we've made and thread them on. I'm going to put one of the Chrysocolla and one of the little copper beads. Be careful you don't put two. And be really careful with this because it's very easy to go ahead and close them when you have not meant to close them yet. Then we bring it around just like we did before. Wrap it around. It's a little harder because you don't have as much tail to use. When you're wrapped a couple of times, grab those nippers, cut that off, and then tuck that little tail end in with your crimpers. There.